So, CA just dropped a blog with 2 maps showing us start positions for Immortal Empires. Firstly, one with the Empire start positions, which we can see here, and another with the mono Chaos Gods on it as well. But to start with this one in a little closer detail, we can see that Karl Franz and Balthazar Gelt are pretty much in the same places they've always been, so not really anything new there. But if we boogie on over to Lustria, we find Marcus Wolfhart pretty much in the same position he was before, although the land is a slightly different shape now from Mortal Empires, so I wonder if that's going to affect the campaign overall, because it was one of the more notoriously hard start positions in Warhammer 2. But then we get a full fresh experience with Volkmar the Grim getting his own faction and his own start position a long way away from the Empire home. He starts in Sudenburg, which is sandwiched between the deserts of the Tomb Kings to the north and the jungles full of lizards to the south. So that's pretty cool. That brings a nice fresh experience to the Empire army. If you're an Empire fanboy, you've got something new to look forward to. But there's still one pretty big question mark with this map, because in a previous blog, CA said that Legendary Lords will be getting their own dedicated factions, which is what we've seen with Volkmar, right? So surely they're not forgetting one of the most important boys for the Empire. By which I of course mean...
Oh, it's me! Fucking Toddy!
Poor old Toddy still doesn't have his own dedicated faction despite being one of the oldest Legendary Lords in the game. But it seems like this is something they're possibly saving for future content to give another little bit of life to the Empire by filling out Middenland and giving Boris his own dedicated faction. So hopefully there's that to look forward to as well. Now moving on to the second map, we can see all the Monogod Chaos factions and the Demons of Chaos as well. So starting up the top with the Demons of Chaos, they've got a pretty nice position here in this new area. We didn't have all these settlements before in Mortal Empires, so some new land for them to go either left or to the right, or they could come down and take Norska. Either way, they're probably going to be fighting mostly Norscan factions up there, maybe, I guess, some Chaos as well, as in Warriors of Chaos, of course. So a nice bit of freedom in their position, it seems. But to the first Monogod, we see Nikari and Slaanesh are in Ulthuan, which is a pretty interesting start position for them, I think, especially as they are a rush faction that don't like being shot by missiles, and most of their enemies around there are going to be high elves with lots of missiles. So it could perhaps be quite a tough start position, or perhaps if the AI is controlling all the factions, then you might just see Ulthuan turn pink and belong to Slaanesh. Moving over east though, we go into the Badlands and find Khorne and Scarbrand ready to mingle with the local greenskins and probably some dwarfs, maybe some Skaven around there as well. He could mingle with the Tomb Kings. A pretty interesting start, not really where I expected Scarbrand to go, but I'm sure he's going to throw a spanner in the works down in that region for all the factions that are already there. And just to the south of him is going to be Zinc and Kairos, right at the bottom of this continent, but just above the southern wastes. He's probably going to have lizardmen enemies to deal with. I'm not sure what else might be down there. Queek does start down there in the Vortex campaign, Krokgar as well. Although Queek, for example, is in a completely different place in Mortal Empires, so who knows who else will be down there. We also don't know who's going to occupy the southern wastes just below Zinch here, so not sure what kind of enemies he might base there. Maybe Warriors of Chaos again, various warbands and things, or some kind of demon-y factions. We shall see. And lastly, we move over to the Dragon Isles, where we find Nurgle and Kugath, tucked away on their own private islands, which is kind of surprising, not the kind of place you want to be if you're looking to spread a plague. You probably want to be smack bang in the middle of some landmass, surrounded by people that you can infect. But it's still a pretty nice start position, and I'm sure there's plenty of land you can expand into to spread your plagues, or you can take to the open sea and use the sea lanes to get anywhere in the world to spread your plagues, so I guess it's all good. Hard to say what kind of enemies that he's going to have to fight around here. We don't know who's up in the Noblar country and all the Darkland areas above, so we'll have to see. Might be greenskins or some Skaven, but overall, all of these monogods getting very different start positions to what they had in the Chaos Realms, which is probably a good thing to give us a bit of a fresh experience with those factions. But this is it so far. This is all the factions that CA has revealed. They said they're going to reveal more as time goes on over the coming days and weeks, so we should find out all of the start positions over time. It did say in the blog before as well that 29 older Legendary Lords have been moved, none of which we've seen here today, so we know at least it's none of the Empire Lords. But there we go. I hope you've enjoyed this. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the future.